Ladies, gents, and everyone under the sun, welcome back to another episode of the Container Podcast, episode 24, baby. Jacky, Kyle, how are you doing?
Good, pretty good. Been a while.
Yes, we've taken some long vacation, it seems.
One might say it's been too long, and I would be inclined to say that they're right.
Yeah, with the summer and everything, it's getting hard to sit around and do the podcast every week. Since there's more time to enjoy life outside.
Yeah, maybe not so much enjoying for everybody, but yeah, man, let's just say that life's been happening and we haven't had much time to come together and come around recording another episode. It gave us a lot more time to do the homework though, and I think it was yours, right? It wasn't Kyle's.
No, it was Jacky's, not mine.
Yeah,
And
it was my homework.
you decided to give us some extra homework.
Yeah, so I think for listeners at the start, I just wanna come back to it because it's been a while. So at the start, I recommended for the homework it was the repertoire series on Netflix of James Acaster. So it was 4 episodes, and then since we were taking a lot of time, and I was thinking, well, maybe I could add a little more because the reason why I gave you this homework about James Acaster is that recently I've watched this last, stand-up that he posted online on Vimeo. It's not on Netflix. It's on Vimeo. I don't know how to pronounce it.
You said it
And-
well. I think it's that.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
seems fair. And I really enjoyed it, and we'll talk about it more. So I decided to recommend it. It's called Cold Lasagne, Hate Myself, 1999. Very unusual title. But I think that when you know James Acaster, you know that it fits its persona in some way. So yeah, after watching it, I thought that I would recommend the repertoire to you guys because I thought that you should start there if you if you want to get into James Acaster because that's the way I started. But to me, like the strongest part is really his last special that he did on Vimeo. So since we had more time, I decided to add a little more to the homework.
I think you did well.
Yeah.
I had a lot of time to complete the homework, but in a way that is rather unconventional. Like, let's talk about repertoire first. The way that it's presented, it's in 4 acts, and I haven't watched all 4. And it was your recommendation to do so.
Yeah, because if you guys remember what I said is that I know that this type of humor does not fit everybody. Well, as any type of humor actually, because it's always like that. But I knew specifically that this type of humor could bore maybe some people, or some people would find it too weird to watch it all. So what I said basically was that watch the first episode. If you like it, just go ahead and watch the second one, the third one, the fourth one. But if you don't like it, just go straight to the third one because to me, this third one is like my favorite one and it's the strongest one. And if at that point you don't like it, just stop right there. And if you do like it, go on to the fourth. And if you still like it, come back to the second. So it was just a way to not make it too long because it's 4 hours. It's 4 hours of special. It's a big amount of time for something if you don't like it. So yeah, I wanted to make it as easy as possible for you guys. So I don't know. Maybe you can start by telling me how it went. What did
Yeah.
you see?
It was very
Everything.
considerate of you to give us that way of consuming the content because yeah, man, I after the first one I was like I need to go to the better part of the show because right now I'm not feeling it, right? I don't know for you,
Mhm.
Kyle. What did you think about the repertoire, the first act called Recognize?
Yeah, so I watched it. I enjoyed it. So I said to myself, I know you had said the second one I think was the weakest one.
Yeah, to
So
me,
I said, you know what? I'll give it a watch just you know, I think usually when people they or comedians or whatever, an album or whatever, I think there should be an order to it, especially the way they deliver the stuff, you know. So
hmm
I decided to give it a watch, and I agreed to that it was the weakest one, but I still had some enjoyment out of it. I didn't completely hate it. The second one, I do agree with you that you did say that the third one was the best one, and was indeed the best one, and that's the one I enjoyed the most.
I see. Well, okay. Well, it's a good thing. I'm glad that we agree on this, because I wasn't sure. You know, I was like, how? What's the best advice I can give you when watching this? But yeah, I think it's a bit of the same for me. I
One
didn't
thing though
hate the
that
second
I
one.
do have to say is I
Yeah.
watched them a while, especially repertoire. I
Yeah.
watched them a while ago,
Yeah.
and I find um how you call it um, comedy specials,
Hmm.
even the
hmm
ones that I love, I have a hard time remembering jokes and stuff. Like to right now, you can tell me like I have a few bits that were memorable,
Yeah.
but I find that it gets lost through all of it. You know,
Oh
it's
yeah,
it.
well, for sure, it's understandable, and I mean, I don't think we can, we're not going to go through every bit and
Yeah, no, no,
discuss the jokes
for
and
sure,
everything.
for sure.
But yeah, of course, if you have something that you remember and you want to talk about it, or something that really left a mark on you, I think that's the point of the conversation. Mainly, it's not about going back to through all the bits, because what I find interesting about James Acaster is not, it's, there are bits, but I think it's the way that he presents them. It's really a style that I was looking forward to sharing with you more than the jokes themselves.
Yeah. I took it a little bit too seriously at first, though, and I was like, man, I can't keep doing this. I have to stop taking this some kind of real ass homework. I was like, let's go, man. Pen and paper, recognize. First joke, loophole and bananas. And I was like, bro, let's go. Let's rate all of these. Let's give them scores out of 10. I can guide you guys through the first couple of notes that I took, but and discuss from there on. But it might be a little like too long. I did it for episode, so recognize and reset. I stopped after that because I was like, man, I
I
feel
don't know.
we kind of
I don't think it's if especially if you're listening to a comedy special. I think the last thing you need to do is start taking notes. You know what I mean?
I
I
wasn't
really think
appreciating it fully, you know? I felt
exactly.
it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, loophole and bananas. I said it was 7 out of 10. Like, and that's it. That's all the insight I got. But if you guys remembered, it was actually a pretty damn good bit. He was
Oh yeah.
talking about the instinct that human beings have to find the loopholes, to trick the system. And it can be something very big or something very insignificant, but the pleasure is still there, it's the same. So, what did you guys think of that very funny story and the way that he presented it, right? Kneeling with a
Yeah.
watch
Well,
and
I think
everything,
I think
right?
we yeah, I think you will agree with me when I say that a lot of his comedy is visual, and he uses he uses his body and the way he moves on the stage. I think it seems it seems like impro, but I think everything is well calculated so that it gives this feeling that he somehow doesn't know what he's doing, but actually I think that he knows
Well,
everything that
because
he's doing.
I find the way he presents his comedy is being very aloof. You know, like
Yeah.
Yes, like
and
himself,
so
right?
yeah. So, but you see, one thing that I liked and let's say didn't like of him was that he does a lot of repeats. You know what I mean? Where he calls back on
Yep.
certain jokes, and sometimes he goes for a bit for quite a long time, right?
Mhm.
Hmm.
And it's not a I think it can be bad and good at the same time, because there was some bits where I didn't find them funny. It was just a miss, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes he would go long on it, and I was just like, okay, James, like
It's
it, it,
dragging right now.
it's dragging. Like, move on, you know. So,
Mhm.
but that's like you said, comedy is different for everybody. Sometimes I really like the bit, so I like that he continued. But sometimes, and he did callbacks, you know, that I always enjoy when comedians do a callback, you know, and
Yeah, well, I think in terms of callbacks, there are so many, and what I what really struck me the first time that I watched the repertoire episodes is that there are callbacks from episode to episode, and that everything from the first episode to the fourth one, you if you said that at the start, they put it in this order for a reason, and that's why I didn't want you to watch it. Go straight to the third one because I knew that there were things that you had to see in the first one so that you could understand the third one because there are a lot of callbacks, not only for like one episode but across episodes. And this is something that I really liked. I really like that sometimes you're just you're inside the episode, you're thinking about what's been said in in this part of the episode, and then there's something from the first one or the second one, and it just I don't know. It makes everything sticks together, and it's a great way to tell stories. I think that's why I like him a lot. I think it's his way to tell the story,
It is
the
woven
stories.
in a very particular way. Like you said,
Yeah,
it's not rare that in the same um, act that he will call back to something he said 15 minutes ago, but when he starts to arcing back to things he did like 2 episodes ago, like not episodes, you see what I mean, 2 acts ago,
I get it. I get it. Yeah.
it's it's quite special, right? I'm like, man, people have went in person, sat there, listened to him, have a good laugh, went back home. Maybe it's the day after, maybe it's a couple of days afterwards. Go back into the theater, sit again, hear the next joke, and then get that callback, which is so well done and memorable that it still lands. Like I could hear the audience get it right, and I was
Yeah.
very,
Well,
very impressed because I'm just praying play back to back for every acts of his special, but a large portion of time was in between them in real life for the people that were watching the show.
yeah. Well, it's
where
something
they
very
was it the
impressive.
same crowd?
Yes.
I think it was, yeah.
Okay, okay.
Because that's the way he starts. I think episode 3. He's like, "You're the when he talks about the perfect audience. He goes out on stage and he's like, "I was expecting it would be you, and it's amazing that you're here."
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that, but that's the way he starts the reset episode. So yeah, I think it's just that he has this way to you know make you think of to show you something so that you remember it because it's weird the way he presented it. It's just like when he stops his watch for the time at the start of the first episode, and then he starts it, and then he stops it when he falls in the first episode, and then when he falls in the third episode he does the same thing. And it's just that it's memorable because it's your memory is linked to something. The way it's presented is so weird that when it comes back, you cannot not remember it.
Exactly.
And
Like he doesn't in the first episode he talks about it, right? Not
Mhm.
at the very first time, but he eventually explains it. What is he doing? He's
Mhm.
actually oh, it's so funny, man. He's like, man, technically I'm not working right now when when I'm kneeling, so I'm gonna start the time whenever I get up. But a couple of episodes in, he doesn't say anything. He just starts and stops the stopwatch naturally, right? And he
Mhm.
does it with his mannerism and everything that really lets you I don't know. It makes it all feel very natural and not scripted. If you see what I mean, it's like it's his real self that is being aloof on stage.
Yeah.
But he does it so well. That's what's really crazy. The jokes, that mannerism, everything is interconnected. Nothing feels like it shouldn't be there. That's what I got out of Acaster.
Yeah. Kyle said that his favorite episode was the third one. What is your view on that, Momo?
By far. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
comparing the scores right now that I took notes.
Which is I'm correct. I'm just I think it's the third one, but I'm not sure which one is the one with the bees.
Yeah, it's the third one, Reset.
Yeah, the bees. I found the bees were. I
10
like the
out of
call
10. 10 out of 10. I
and
gave it a 10. It was amazing.
that was one of my favorite parts. To be honest, the specifics are a bit hard to recall, but I know how I felt on it. That
Yeah. Well, that's the most important part. What's your feeling about it?
that I laughed. That was I think the third one because I he never made me like laugh like uncontrollably, right? He
Yeah,
always
yeah.
made he made me smile a lot, made me like, oh, that was cheeky, you know. But he never made me like so that's why I don't think there's some comedians that have this ability to make me like, you know,
Visceral laughter.
crumble on myself and like just
Pain, chest
yeah,
pains.
pain, right? It also depends the mood you're on. Like for example, one of my favorite comedians is well, he did a couple specials that I watched there, but Eddie Murphy. I
Yeah,
found
you showed me one where
his stand up.
he was wearing red.
Yeah, exactly. Delirious and
Yeah.
yeah, a great special, right? However, you have if you're not in that okay, I'm about to watch I find comedy is very hard with you for that. You know what I mean? Sometimes you're like, ugh, you know, like it's funny, but you're not, you know, you're not in that mode. And
Hmm.
but anyway, so maybe that's the case. But episode 3 with the bees, I think that was when I remember noting myself like I actually really laughed.
I loved it,
All right.
man.
All right.
Uh, just to go back to recognize, so we had the loophole bananas, right? Where he was going at to the supermarket with that annoying worker there, the woman that was like the deal about free bananas, and
Oh yeah.
he took
Oh yeah.
he took like a random looking good banana, and she was like, yeah, it's free, but you didn't ask which ones were free. And he said, who the fuck reads free bananas and thinks to
And says,
themselves,
"No, I'm
which
I'm too
one
good for it."
which one are actually free? Yeah, man, it was funny. I'm too good, and it was just really good. And then the whole absolutely, like you said, it's a good word, delirious story that he like did some kind of a trap to get back to that worker, and he was like, yeah, man, I'm not gonna, I can't remember the specifics, but he was like, I'm gonna play on something as to it's not which bananas are free, but some kind of other question that is also
Yeah.
extremely dumb that you will
Yes.
never in your life think about, right?
Yeah.
And
He goes like he goes. She's gonna go into the store and I'm gonna go. All the bananas are free today. And then she will ask which one because like she's the one that asked the question in the first place, and he will go all the bananas. And then she'll take the banana. And he will go. I didn't say the bananas were free for everybody.
that was so good. It was what like brought it up a couple of notches. Like it gave it a lot of extra points. I was like,
Oh my
wow,
god! And
this is so good.
I just love his face. I just love, his expressions are they're so powerful and they're so intense for something, it's not meaningless, but you know what I mean. It's something banal. It's a simple situation about bananas, and he's so intense about it. And he's so happy to get his revenge, and then he eats all the bananas, and I don't know the way he moves and everything. I find it very very funny, and
Nah,
yeah.
he's hilarious, man. I think we resemble each other for a couple of mannerism, and I was like, "Yo, man, I get the state of mind and emotion while he is performing, right? So if you guys look at the picture for today's podcast where he was pointing at something in his show, that demeanor,
Mhm.
those eyes, that mouth, that everything, that everything, that positioning, it's such a specific feeling of trying to show something to somebody, right? It's not any kind of demonstration. It's a special kind of demonstration. You just have to see it. You can't really put words into that feeling that you get. But yeah, man, he's good at that. He's really good at that. And he moved on with the childhood story and the cop, right? That he's an undercover cop.
Yeah, yeah, that was good.
So
Funny.
it was pretty good. I said it was a little less good than the loophole one. I said 6 out of 10. And then the oven gloves and schmoozing. That one didn't land with me, sadly. If you guys particularly liked it, we can maybe talk about it. And then the divorce and mathematics. That one was also pretty damn good. So I gave it a 7 out of 10. I wasn't expecting him to pull up those scrolls and drawings and start talking about math on stage. It was pretty special. And then
Oh yeah.
the podcast segment, man. He was like, "Yeah, man. So I'm an undercover cop, and I saw that my day-to-day life is very interesting, right? It would be such a pleasure to be able to share it with other people. So I took with me a like a hidden mic, and here's a segment of my podcast, right?" And he starts playing it. He just sits in his chair, right? And he starts playing it, and he listens with a very funny face and posture, and he's just like, "Yeah, man, that's what happened. Like, I'm showing you guys my life as an undercover cop." It was hilarious, man. He was gaslighting people. He was doing all sorts of stuff to rile up the um, the thugs that he's infiltrated, right? And some of the how do you say, interactions in between them were pretty funny. So I liked it more than pretty much everything to that point. I don't know if you guys liked the podcast part, but I was like, bruh, we do podcast ourselves, but this is different.
Well, there are many callbacks also in the podcast, so I think yeah, that was funny, and it ends with oh my god, what's it called? That song from Shrek.
Oh,
Uh,
somebody
yeah,
once
All
told me.
Star. Yeah, there. You
Yup.
go.
Oh, oh my god.
So yeah, so yeah, I don't know if you guys, because you've seen like Momo, you've seen 1, 3, and 4, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, so I don't know if there are moments or if there are,
The best
what are
moment
your
for me,
favorite moments? Yeah,
like in
of all the four
recognize,
episodes.
it was relationships. I gave it an 8 out of 10. I thought that ending on that note, where everything was very light up until that point, was an excellent omen to what was to come. I thought that ending on a very serious note and doing some kind of onstage introspection was the change of beat that I needed to get more invested into his special, right? I don't know for you,
Hmm.
Kyle.
Yeah, 100% there. It did change a bit the way the special was going and everything there. Which one was this? The relationship you were talking
Yeah,
about?
relationships.
Yeah,
He was
yeah.
like my life as a whole, the relationships with people. He was thinking about everything that's been going wrong, and if it's him, if it's them, things like that. It was really, and it wasn't so funny as to, it gave us a special desire to see it through. Like I was like, bruh, Jacky signed me up for how many hours of this guy, and I kinda like it. But when I saw that, I was like, I think I'm gonna like it. I think the guy is playing the long game or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, we can talk about reset, man. Just real quick, I'm gonna shoot it fast and stop me if you want to say something. Kenyan Well slash he or she, Honey Business,
Mm,
Passport Photo,
mm-hmm.
Museum, EU Referendum, Spag Bowl, Kitchen Mirror, and Musical End. So that's the whole
That's
that's the whole thing, and I gave two 10 out of 10s, one for Honey Business and one for EU referendum, with Museum coming close with 9 out of 10.
I mean that joke about the UK referendum to leave EU
Yeah,
is one of my favorite jokes of all time. Now,
yeah, it's
with
amazing.
the tea bag, I find it so elegant. So the delivery is so well done that it killed me when I watched it the first time. It completely killed me. It was so good. I don't know if you guys what do you guys think about that joke?
Just
Because
genius, right? I would have to go back and re listen to it, but there is a reason I gave it a 10 out of 10. It was particularly good. I was impressed.
to me, if like it between the four episodes, the third one is the reason why I wanted you to watch the whole thing. Like it's for reset. Reset is like to me, it's the peak of the whole thing, and the whole question about EU to me is like the peak of the reset episode. Like that joke about the tea bag, and at the end when he's like you need us more than we need you, and then he just
Yes!
crumbles on.
Oh, it was so good.
Oh, yeah. So these were my favorite parts from Reset, but you mentioned the musical part at the end, and I mean it's another part of him that I like a lot. It's that the way he constructs his humor is that sometimes he's going to do something or he's going to say something, and you're not going to get it. You're not going to understand, and then he just continues and then you get it and it clicks, and it's not like a classic callback. It's a bit different. It's just like you start a joke and you stop it in the middle, and then you bring it back. What I mean by that is that his shirt with the big pocket.
Yes.
He talks about it at the beginning. He's like, the pocket is pretty
You
big, the pocket is pretty big.
unusually
Yeah,
big pocket.
and he laughs about it, and you like, yeah, you can't help yourself but wonder why does he wear that. But as the show goes on, and he just he wears his shirt, and you start not noticing it, you forget about it a bit. And when I watched the episode the first time, and he just picks up his a little instrument
Yep.
at the end, and he puts it in the pockets. I was like, this is too good. I like this so much.
It's
It's like
very
everything
simple,
fits.
but
Yeah.
it's extremely well thought out and completely thought through and through.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I know that it's the kind of calculated things that you particularly enjoy.
Exactly. Yes. Yes, you can say that.
I know that
So,
the musical end wasn't like by comparison, right? Out of everything, only Spag Bowl was inferior. It was not too good. It was kind of disappointing. I don't know how to say it, but it dragged on, and I didn't really catch why. I was like, yeah, man, that Scottish hymn, or I don't know what it is exactly. It's pretty damn good, but I don't know, man. I don't know. I was like, why is he doing this?
But it's the musical part. What's funny is that he plays it the first time. It's a song that you can listen to in French also. I don't know what's called in English. I don't remember the name, but it's a popular theme. It's not. I don't know if maybe it's Irish. Maybe I don't know. But
I think it's
I know there's
Scottish. I don't know. I think it's
Scottish.
Scottish.
I know there's a French version, so I don't know where it's from. But anyway, it's it's always in the delivery. In the delivery, it's never the joke itself. Is that he plays and then when he just plays in a loop at one point and he just goes on, and he repeats and repeats and repeats, and is when you look at his face and his hand and the way he hits the keys and everything, it's
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
that's what's making it
It is.
funny.
It is funny, right? That's why it's not a complete miss, but
Hmm.
it was strange. Like out of Reset, I was not expecting something like that. And
Yeah, yeah.
maybe that's
I
James
get it.
Acaster for me. Expect the unexpected.
Yeah, because I can't. I don't know. I think I don't think he. I don't know if you agree with me, but to me, it's like the strangest type of humor I've ever seen, and it's the most unique type of humor I've ever seen. I've never seen something like that.
Yeah,
That is that is completely different from what you see from stand-up comedians across the world. Well, I mean, from what I've seen.
yeah. It's the new age British humor.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And speaking of British, there's this whole part about you know the UK, well England mainly, robbing and colonizing countries and stealing their stuff.
Yeah, the museum part.
Yeah, to talk about museums. Yeah,
They were
so I
like,
think there's a lot. Yeah,
they were like, yeah, man. Uh, something,
Well,
something.
we all know that British people have no culture.
Yeah,
yeah,
that, and the fact that they want
Their culture is uh, colonialism.
others culture. They were like, yeah, man, we can't give it back to you guys because we're still looking at it. Those precious artifacts from your ancestors and all. Nah, be finders keepers, or I don't know if it really applies, but yeah, man, some kind of weird twisted logic. I
yeah,
liked,
yeah.
I liked, I liked everything about Reset. A little less the musical ending, but yeah.
Okay, all right.
Episode 4 didn't take any notes. Maybe you can
Yeah,
guide us through.
the musical number that was a no for me though.
Yeah, you
It
too.
was it was
Yeah, you
it was
too.
long. I was just like, okay, finish this up, please.
But
When he was skipping the fucking words there, nah, I didn't like.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
no, that was in the fourth one, but Momo was speaking about when he plays the little instrument at the end
Oh
of the
yeah,
third one.
okay, okay. That
yeah.
yeah, it was a bit better, but not by much.
Not by much, like you said. That one was
You
worse.
did, but well, I'm really surprised you didn't like the Kettering Town football club anthem.
No, 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 not at all. Not at all. I was
you
just
know,
like I because you see that's a I do really like actually in the beginning like when I watched the first one, second one, even the third one, right? I was just like I like him, but it ends there, right? I find he was good, not great.
Hmm.
And I still don't think he's in my tops of comedians. However, I I find that what I really dislike of him is exactly that. His fucking song.
Yeah,
It could have lasted 15 seconds, but then at the end, it could have lasted 15 seconds, but 15 seconds is too short to get your point across, right? So he continues a bit more for 20, 30 seconds. And you're like, okay, I got the joke, right? And then he
Thanks.
went on for another fucking minute or so. And I was just like, no, I got it. You like, stop it. Stop.
Wrap it
Back it
up,
up.
please.
You know,
But
at least like once a week, I just go on YouTube and I watch it. I listen to that.
You like it so much.
Like I said, it's not the joke itself; it's just the delivery. And see the people in, the people in the audience. They don't understand it, and that's what I find funny about it. It's just that
Everybody
it's
was
so
shook. That was
yeah.
for real.
It's so ridiculous that it becomes funny. It's that type of joke. It's that the joke itself ain't that funny, and I agree with Cal. It's a long song to make, like, because it's one single joke. It's just like remove one letter, but I think that he understands it, and that's why he keeps it so long. And I don't know. Again, it's the body language and everything. That's what I really like about it. But yeah, the fourth episode. What did you guys think? I don't know. Not jokes specifically, not in terms of jokes
to
specifically, but
be
your
honest,
feeling.
I don't really remember it.
Same. He talked about
Yeah.
that
Well, okay.
musical part.
There's
I was like,
yeah.
yeah, I remember
I
that.
know. I remember something about like isn't he meeting a girl or something?
Yeah, there's the
Yeah,
girl,
yeah,
the game of Twister,
Oh
yeah, yeah, yeah,
yes,
yeah. Yeah.
yes. Now I remember a little bit.
and there's the when he's like the don't mention people's race in a story if it's not relevant.
Yeah, true. But you see, I like it. Sometimes he does do great points. You're like, but he makes me remind of like this chaotic person, right? Where it's like
Yes.
Hmm.
the way he delivers jokes is as if, like you just said in the beginning, it's like it looks like he comes off on the fly saying stupid shit. It's like if he's like, oh, when you're on the toilet and you just think and you're like,
Bathroom
those
thoughts.
dumb shower thoughts, on Reddit.
Yep.
He's the definition of that guy. You know what I mean? It's like, oh yeah, your lip skin is different than your normal skin, huh? And then just walks away from that joke, and you're just like,
Not even, and
what?
he's like, man, I sure do wonder how life would be if the simple shaking of hands would get us aroused or something like that.
Yeah, but you see, and then he just, I don't know, it's just like, what the fuck? Like, you just had like a brain fart moment. You said that thing, and then you moved. You know what I mean? So, I enjoyed that of him. I
Or the
found that
huge
like,
painting rollers full of lipstick
yeah.
that the whole family would get into before beginning their day. Bro, I was like, those are strong mental images that you are sending me.
Yeah, I think it's another of his strength is that the way he tells the story, you easily get the image in your head, and the image is often ridiculous, and that's why
Absolutely.
it's fun.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, to me, like the highlights from recap was the bread research. I like the bread research, and
You see,
all
I didn't really like that. I found it
you
went too
didn't.
long. I found it went too long. And it was good. It was okay. It was just good. I didn't
I
find it
kind of
great.
forgot about it, so I don't think
It's
it
just like he
particularly.
goes, uh, I've been researching bread
Yeah.
and like gluten bread or stuff like that.
Oh
That's pretty much.
yes, yes, yes. Now I remember. And then he was like, it was more about the way we talk about stuff. I think something similar he did afterwards as a bit was when somebody interrupted him and corrected him about the
Oh yes,
apricots, right?
yeah,
I thought it
ready to
was
eat apricots.
yeah, yeah. I thought it was kind of similar in terms of humor, but the apricots one landed better for me.
Oh yeah, yeah. Actually, now that you mention it, yeah, I like that part too. Because he's making fun of the some of the audience. Because I think in his previous comedian career, in previous bits that he did, I think he got echoed a lot. That's because that's something that comes back a lot in his comedy. We'll talk
Yeah, he
about
says that
the
the audience is the worst part of the job.
yeah, and I think I don't think it's in the fourth one. I think it's the third one when he's like, oh, they said we got kicked out for laughing, and he's like, yeah, kicked out for laughing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
you know,
saying
you know when you
some.
go, you're shit, mate. So yeah, I think when he
That
talks about the
that's
audience,
something I hate seeing. So, like, just if you pay for a show, go there, listen to the joke. You don't like it, you can walk away. Shut the fuck up. You know, like
yeah,
you're ruining it for other people. You know,
Yeah, he was like
yeah,
like
always accusing me of being a fragile snowflake, a liberal person that is a little bit too easily um, not provoked, but flustered.
yeah,
He's like,
but you
man,
see,
sensitive and everything.
recently I did go to a comedy show
yeah,
in person,
yeah,
and they were there. The comedian that I was listening to, he leaned in on the audience a bit, like
he.
asking them here and there questions for his bit,
So he was playing off the audience, yeah.
yeah, but it was just for his bit. Like, he just needed to ask a question, get a response, and then
Move
move
on.
on to
Yeah.
his actual joke. And then this woman, she starts talking, right? And then he's like, "Oh, okay." And then she kept on fucking talking, and it was just, at one point he was just like, "Okay, you
Girl.
said your answer.
Yeah.
We're not here for you. We're here for me. So, like, shut up," you know. And it was just like,
Bro, I
it was
would
just
have.
like, everybody was there, like, "Okay, woman, we understood. Stop it. Like, shut up." Like,
I would have died laughing. Okay, girl. People are
he
here
said
for
that
me.
he said that. He said they paid to see me, not talk to you, not hearing you talk. Anyway,
Oh
but
yeah, was it like at the in a comedy club, or was it like a show specific to the artist?
it was a show specific to the audience, to the comedian.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
All right. Okay. Okay.
It
I see.
was Louis Jose Hood.
Oh
I
Oh
know,
yes.
I
boy!
Oh
know,
yeah.
I
I
know.
don't I don't
Jacky.
particularly like him, but he might
Yeah,
have gone
well,
better with the years.
I find he was. Anyway, we won't go too much into detail on him there, but I enjoy his stuff. It's not my favorite thing. However, I find that no matter who you go see, even if they're mediocre, I find, in which I don't think this guy Louis Jose Hood is mediocre,
Nah,
but
he's
I don't
way too
think.
popular for being mediocre.
But in person, I find every comedy show I've ever seen in person, no matter what the fuck, if you like him or not, the everybody laughing, and you
The
start to
vibe.
laugh and you vibe, exactly. And then I've never laughed as much at a show, and like I said, I like the guy. He's not my favorite, but in person, always makes you laugh 4 times harder.
I kind of trust you on that, cuz when I remember in our little friend groups when we're together, we can laugh really hard at some super dumb stuff. Some stuff that if were to be presented professionally at a Netflix special, we would probably be the hecklers.
Yeah, exactly. So I always think, if nobody's, you, both of you, or anybody listening, if you've never experienced a live comedy show, I think it's worth it. Just because you know that when you're gonna go there, fuck, you're gonna laugh. Like, it's rare that you go there and you're, for whatever reason, maybe if you're in a completely bad mood, and the guy's complete trash, or the girl, sure, right? But if they're remotely good, you'll laugh and have a good time.
Yeah, man, I like how you saved yourself there, but we can move on
He or
to
she.
Yeah, that's I wanted to say that right after he
he
or she.
or she.
when they what was it when what he says? It's like when you know you meant he, but you wanted to she just do it.
And even when it doesn't make any sense.
Here it did, okay? Here it did, but because there's a couple female comedians that I do enjoy.
I
But
hope that I can find one myself, but I would have to watch more. And as you guys know, I am not a big fan of watching stuff. You guys are much more of how do we say? In French we say cinéphile. In English, I don't know how we say that. Movie lovers, maybe?
I think so.
Yeah. Does it count
So,
as cinema though? If it's a recorded
I
special?
don't think so. I think it's just a show.
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
no, it's stand up. It's stand up comedy.
Yeah, I think it's different.
Okay, okay, okay. But you guys saw what I meant.
It's
Yeah,
like
yeah, of
it's
course.
like have you ever seen a recording of a play?
Yeah, I love plays, but I
Okay, but
never
have you ever seen a
watched a
recording of a
recording of
play?
a play. No.
Okay, well, if ever you've seen a recording of a play, you'll understand the feeling because I love plays. I find
Amazing. You
they're there
live.
right in front of you.
Yeah, you
Exactly.
live the story.
And
It's
same thing
amazing.
with the comedian, right? It's funny across the screen, but it's even funnier when he's right in front of you.
I would strongly, if it's the same thing, I need to go see a show, a stand-up show, because
Mm.
plays,
Yeah.
man, sometimes they make me tear up, they make me super emotional, happy or sad. But they always like not always, but they most times come across in a very positive way. But I wouldn't imagine myself watching someone recording it and posting it online. So yeah, you gotta be there. That's the way to experience it.
Highly recommend it.
Yeah, it's a different feeling, and it's the way it was meant to be enjoyed. I think.
Well, you're lucky. We have one of the. I think it is the biggest festival of stand up in the world. So you
Yeah,
you
boy.
don't have anything missing. You can. There's tons to choose from.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. We'll definitely talk about that next time we meet, because COVID and all, I'm not too sure about where, when, but if you went to, when was it, Louis Jose?
It was maybe 2 months ago,
Yeah,
two
so
3 months ago.
they're still doing them. We might be able to catch someone that's pretty funny.
Uh, I think we can.
Repertoire, are we over with
I think
repertoire?
we are. I think we can move on to the next one, next and last one. That
Yes.
is that is the yeah. I
Yeah.
don't know if you guys have anything else to say about the
No, I pretty much said everything I had to say about
Same, same. Cause the meat and potatoes, man, it's coming up.
Yeah, honestly, it's as I said to Momo, when I recommended to you repertoire, I knew that maybe you will, enjoy it all because it's getting into it. It's very different. But Cole Lasagna, Hate Myself, 1999. I think I was well. I will hear your opinion, Kyle, but I was sure that you guys would both like it. I was like, this one is so well written and is so interesting that you guys cannot not like it
You
because
were
there's
one
a
thousand percent sure.
yeah, I was pretty sure. I was pretty sure. I'm never 100% sure, but I was like pretty sure. I was like, how can they not like it? This one is so good, and it's a more classical, stand-up show.
Yeah.
So I don't know, guys. I want to hear your impressions first, and then we can go ahead and talk about it. It's a 2-hour special. It's longer than the individuals episodes from a repertoire.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, what did you guys think of Cole Lasagna Hate Myself 1999?
It was so good that whenever I needed to stop and resume at an other time, I was very eager to do so. When sometimes I'm like, I'm kind of glad to stop and I don't want to come back, or um, I was in, I got out, and then I struggled to find the desire to get back to it. I had absolutely a blast with called Lasagne because it was with an E, not with an A. That was surprising to me because we always say called lasagna, right? Hate Myself 1999. A masterpiece, man. I was like, this is one of the best specials that I've seen in a very, very long time.
Damn, all right, that's good. That's good. I like to hear that. I'm very glad. What about you, Kyle? Well,
I think my man is MIA.
oh yeah, maybe I think because what you guys need to understand is that Kyle lives with a cat, and sometimes the cat fucks his shit up, so he has to, take care of that.
Yeah,
But
man.
yeah, we can.
He has to close the mic because else you would hear World War III at his place. So
Yeah. Well, it's
in
understandable.
to
You got to deal
respect
with.
the audience and his co-hosts, he mutes himself.
That's
So
good. That's good.
yeah, he'll
But
come
yeah,
back. He'll come back
he'll
with his
come back. We'll hear his
impressions.
opinion. No worries. We can go on. So, I mean, all the stories in that stand-up special to me are extraordinary, and some of them are unbelievable. Like, I don't know how he managed to write that show because it's so good from start till finish. I don't think there was ever a moment where I was bored or anything, or thinking, "Oh, maybe this is taking too long." I was enjoying myself fully, listening to his stories that are unbelievable. I will come back to one of those unbelievable stories, but the way he starts the show, he's like he starts swearing and everything, and it immediately caught me by surprise. I
Yeah,
was like, this is so different from what I've seen in repertoire. I don't know what's coming. I really don't know. I've heard good things about that show, but I don't know what's coming. And then he just moves on, and then what's next? What's next after swearing and everything? He talks about edgy comedians, and he talks about the transgender community, and he talks about Ricky Gervais, and I don't know.
what a start! What a start!
Yeah,
And he was like, "So, did I manage to do my job properly to get rid of those? How do the old
Crizzos,
people or the
old people and Crizzos.
Crizzos?" Oh boy. He was
Yeah, yeah.
so determined. He was like, I'm going to do everything in my power. I'm going to touch at every topic, at every controversy until I get all of you guys out. that's my that's my admitted goal.
Yeah, yeah. And there's that bit with the tea, and
Oh
to
boy.
resume to like,
Do a
to
summary.
resume that yeah, to do a summary about it, it's simple. It's what I remember from that bit is first in the mouth, first out the dick. This
Oh
is my
no. You remember that? I remember the feeling of unease when we get served this hot drink that we all love in a normal glass, just like a glass of water, fully transparent on the sides, and we're like, ugh, what the we're like, oh nah, man, nah, that's wrong. That's bad. I don't want to see it from the sides. I just want to see it from the top.
Oh yeah, yeah, because of I mean, this is funny, because it's like in the first episode from Repertoire is that he's there's this brain fart that he presents to you, and you're like, oh yeah, that's right, that's right. But then I don't know the way when he start talking to the tea and it becomes uncomfortable for the audience,
Oh, it
and he's
gets
like, "Oh, you
bad. It gets
dirty."
real uncomfortable, man. He starts like it's not smooth talking, man. It's like
Dirty talk, yeah, dirty
dirty
talk
talking. Yeah, man.
to the tea and everything. And then he just stands up at the end. He's like, "So long, Krillos."
Bye. It was really special. My favorite part was in the opening segment
Hmm.
was when he started to talk about the transgender community.
Oh yeah.
I really needed more of exactly that because I feel like they became such a huge target from
Hmm.
everybody. Like now everybody talks about them and either has a problem with them or supports them, but mostly has a problem with them. And he's like, yeah, man, uh, what's his name? Ricky Gervais
Yeah.
being courageous, taking risks by singling out one of the most vulnerable and like small communities out there. Like, wow, that needed a lot of courage. And yeah, man, I was
Um.
like, man, if people want to attack some kind of big group or institution that is like very powerful and nobody challenges it, how do you come from that mindset to attacking the transgender community? It's absolutely crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was
So it's
very well said, very well presented, funny, tasteful. Yeah, man.
yeah. It's again. It's in the delivery. It's in the body language when he goes, "What's the matter, guys? Too challenging for you?" And he just repeats that, and it gets more and more intense.
Yeah, he's like,
And
people get offended, right? Yeah, they don't want to be challenged. That's the
Mhm.
excuse that most comedians or public figure say. They're like, yeah, man, I'm not scared. I challenge everybody. I fire left and right. I don't care about like anything, right?
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm. Is it too challenging for you? Are you hurt in your feelings? It's so good. Then he's like, "Yeah, man, you're
Well,
such a
it's we had glimpse of his political humor in the first four episodes in repertoire. So, for example, when he talks about the EU referendum, and when he talks about British Museum, and that you can get an idea of what are his thoughts and
views."
his opinions, yeah, his views. And in that special, I think it just came out more, and I enjoyed it a lot. I liked how political it was, how it was. He had really something to say in that special,
Would
because
you
he
have
talks
liked
about.
it the same if his views were the opposite of the views he had?
Um, maybe not. Maybe not. To be frank, maybe not.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hey, he's back. Did you
Yeah,
survive
sorry
the
about
cat
that.
attack?
Yeah, she decided that she's gonna go crazy at 11 p.m. and just run on the counters and made fall a couple stuff and a glass that shattered. So to sweep that shit up.
Ah, man, and then that cat was gonna hurt itself on the broken glass.
Exactly.
So yeah,
So
man,
I
smart
said.
man, smart man.
Anyways, yeah,
Oh
go
yeah.
on, continue.
Yeah. Well, before I was just asking Momo because we were wondering. Because, as I said, I was pretty sure that you guys would like it. So, what are your views on Cole Lasagna? I Hate Myself 1999? Like your
I, I
general
liked
opinion.
it. I liked it actually. I found it was like the other one was very random, but this one for there's a lot of bits I found that were very like actual political. I don't know how to
Hmm.
explain it, where he would lend a bit of his views and make fun of stuff. And some I love when people make fun of other people. to It's a special kind of humor that I really enjoy. I still think he still has his style, right? But on this one, it was a bit more. I found, like I said, political, making fun of people. It was a bit different than his repertoire stuff, which I enjoyed. I think it was. I don't know if it was my favorite. I think number three, or I hesitate between this one and the number three there, the actual 2 hour special there. What is it? A cold lasagna, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Call it cold lasagna.
Hate
Oh,
myself. 1999.
when was
What a
it?
title.
When he's talking about like I think it was the trans community or
Yes.
no, it was, I think it was, sorry, I don't really remember where place is, but he just says like, oh, I won't say the name of this guy that's a douchebag, that's a comedian, and just goes, oh, it's from my comedy, and he just says it's fucking Ricky Gervais.
Yes.
And I like Ricky Gervais in certain stuff. I find I can appreciate his stuff, but I find that, like this guy James Acaster, he looks like somebody that I could be friends with. Ricky Gervais, probably not.
Absolutely
He
not.
looks
Yeah.
just like a fucking asshole, like
Someone that just enjoys too much being an asshole.
and too much conflict, So so it was funny, hearing him say, "Fuck it, I'm gonna say it."
One of the best part of Cold Lasagna, Hate Myself 1999, was the girlfriend story.
Yeah.
That whole saga was amazing.
Yeah, the one, the Mr. Bean.
Oh my god. The way it's delivered. It's like, yeah, I got my girl stolen by Mr. Bean. And then people are like, yeah. And then he says, it wouldn't be funny if I invented it. But if it were true, if it were to be true, then everybody starts to laugh. They're like, nah, it can't be. Like, this is way too far-fetched. And nah, it's
Oh, yeah.
actually... Bruh, and then
Immediately when I heard that, when I watched the special, I googled it, and I don't know, I fell off my chair. I was like, what? I can't believe this is true.
And so many
I just
twists.
cannot believe.
Like the agent, right?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I was like, okay, now we moved on with a story that was very well presented. It was like in every conflict, in every story in between multiple people, there are multiple sides to the story. So knowing that the other side of this story isn't here with us and cannot defend themselves, their points, instead of me telling you my side of the story, I will tell you his side of the story, and I will not tell you mine. And it was excellent, man. Just for it to end, that, yeah, man, so that agent and me, we don't do any business together anymore, and I got a new agent that I really like, and it's going well and everything. But wouldn't you know who she represents? Another person that she has under her wing. And then people were like, who? If it depends, you can have two types of reactions, right? Because of his nonverbal, it gives you a little bit of a cue that it might be and it was, man. Oh boy, it was so funny.
Well,
Oh boy.
it's I've watched the Netflix special. I've watched the one on Vimeo, and also I've watched a lot of YouTube videos of him on uh, shows in England. Yeah, talk shows. Well, just shows in England where
yeah,
they bring up
where
comedians.
it's like it's just comedians sitting on a table and they like react to stuff and
or
exactly.
the cooking show.
Yeah, the cooking show, exactly. So that type of stuff. And there's one of those shows where he has to tell stories, and there are three of them, and the three of them tell stories, and the other comedians have to find which stories are true and which are false. And sometimes he tells stories. I remember like there are like three or four of them. He tells the story, and you're listening to it, and you're like, "This cannot be possible. This cannot be possible," and they are actually all true. And it just baffles me what's going on with his life. So you know, having
Like
seen that when he did the Mr. Bean bit, I I I couldn't conceive it. I couldn't conceive it. I was like, this cannot be happening. There's no way that James Acaster got his girlfriend stolen by Mr. B. There's no way. And then you Google it and you find it's true. Then you find his agent, left him, and I like that at the end
everything
of the
he
story
said
they're like,
Wait,
was
wait,
true.
wait, wait. It
"Hmm,
was true.
It was true.
I thought he just fucking invented that shit.
no, no,
Nah,
no, no.
bro, it's 100% true.
Yeah. Everything is true. Everything is true."
Oh my god. Okay, that changes a lot of it.
You see, that's the thing.
Well,
That's what he said. If it's not true, it's somewhat funny. But if it's true, oh my god, bro. Every time he was adding to the story, I was dying.
Yeah. I like that when I really like that when comedians use parts of their lives there.
Yeah.
mhm. No, it gives another dimension to the whole
But
story,
I
and
think what it does also is that it uses how you call it they don't use all oftentimes like super funny sometimes it could be sad or like tragic or whatnot, but use it and take a spin on it, make fun of it, so I find that I like that, from comedians.
yeah, you're right, you're right. So yeah, I don't know if you guys have other parts of the special that you really liked or want to talk about, because I know like for me, the part with the agent that ended up with Netflix just going, "Oh no, it's fine, no worries," and that's why we have a special on Netflix. And the part with the therapist, that also was wild. It was very wild listening to
Yes.
what his therapist was saying to him, and I don't know. It's such good stories, and since you guys know me, I like a good story, and I think that's why I enjoy his comedy a lot. Is that it revolves a lot around stories, and it's not about the joke, it's more about the delivery. But I don't know, in his case, I think he's lucky that he's gifted enough to do this kind of comedy, and that all this stuff happened to him, because it's so unbelievable. These types of stories, when he talks about his bands, and when he talks about the therapist, and the therapist wanting to meet with her children and everything. I don't know. I don't. It's so good.
James Acaster. Remember the name, guys. And we kind of spoiled some of the jokes, but it's all
Oh
in
yeah,
the
well.
delivery, man. It's all in the delivery.
Oh yeah, because I mean that Mr. Bean story. Go listen to it. Just listen to it. The way he delivers it, it's masterful. I don't know how he does it, but um, you asked a good question, because now I'm thinking about one of the other moments that I really liked about the show, and it's when he talks about the story of him shitting himself in a restaurant at
Oh,
the end,
Mm.
yes.
and he builds up and he's like, you know,
Bro, the way I
I've
said that shit, man, it seems like I'm a scatophile or something. Yeah, keep it up, keep it up.
yeah. So it's not about the story itself, but it's the way he's building it up. So he talks about it, and he's like, "Now I'm going to tell you about the most embarrassing things, because I don't want I want to get ahead of my therapist and everything. So it's about me shitting myself." And then he just said, "Oh, the audience, you might think that I've said many personal stuff." And he goes, well, that stuff ain't embarrassing. It's a good thing that we talk about mental health and everything, and we should deal with it, and we should communicate more. And the way he builds up, again, it's all in the delivery. And when the people clapped, I don't know, I don't know, it felt good, and he felt it a bit. You see it in his reaction that he felt it. He felt it that there was something here, because he explains it after. He's like, it has never happened anywhere else that people have clapped at this part of the bit,
Yes, yes.
and it completely stops his momentum of going for the shit joke that was coming afterwards. So I don't know. It was a great moment, and then he gets
He was
a
like,
little bit
man,
more.
the audience is so wholesome. You're
Yeah,
too wholesome for this bit. I did it
yeah,
all over England and I never got that reaction. Actually, I
yeah,
got those kind of other reactions which were pretty disparaging.
yeah. And it brings him back to the EU referendum. He's like, I think about like 58 of the country would react that way, and the other 42 would react that other way. So yeah, that part also, and of course the his rent against the audience when when he's like, I swear to high Christ, the audience is the worst part about that job. You're not funny. don't tweet don't tweet about this shit.
Yeah, he's like, yo, this new thing, this new tweeting thing and all. Usually, you go up on stage, you do your job, shit might happen, and then everybody goes back home, and you're free from all that. But now, people will actually take some of their time to get on their social media account and start tweeting at celebrities and comics and whatever, telling them in very arrogant manners, right? That bit could have been more funny, or they're kind of shit, and they should get their lives back together, or shit like that. Very harsh stuff that they think it's funny, but in the end, it's actually just rude. You don't know the guy. Why are you talking like that to a stranger online? It can be interpreted in all sorts of ways, and you lose the tone, right? It's actually it's actually a very good point. I was like, man, that's absolutely true. We live in a
Hmm.
very twisted time.
Yeah, because all the nuances are in the show. It takes a lot of time to explain the story and everything, and people will just take some little parts and try to do a joke on the internet about it and post it in a tweet or whatever. And even that part, I just like the way the audience reacts. Again, they're so confused, and because it's like he's insulting them, and at one point he's like, oh yeah, and I see you talk about the joke I just made with your friend. I see you.
Yeah.
So
So
I
yeah.
think he was a cool person to get to know his art, let's say, his skills. So
Yeah. So
cool.
yeah.
yeah,
I don't
what
know.
what do you want to say? I was like,
No,
yeah.
no, but so yeah, I don't know if you have anything else to say about it, especially if there are some bits that I know that you asked me actually a good question at the start. When Kyle was attacked by his cat, you said, what if his political opinions that transpire in his show was the opposite of what they are right now? Would you
Maybe
like
not
it?
opposite, but different in a way
Well,
that
yeah.
would go against your
Hmm.
views. Because I
Yeah.
didn't want to say it as it was, but I think that you align with him pretty well on most of
Yeah.
his
Yeah,
political views.
on a lot of issues. Yeah, you're right. You're right. And I don't think I would enjoy it. I don't think I would.
Yeah, I
So in
agree.
the end,
I don't think if a comedian has a different political view than you, I don't think you and they joke about, I don't think it's easy to enjoy that other person. I don't think it's impossible. I just think it's harder. Because for political is very like sentimental. I think
Yeah.
like there's some stuff like example. Uh, I don't know. You don't like uh, the people, the Palestinians, right?
Yeah.
Let's say you're a Palestinian hater. If somebody's making fun on Israel, right, you're not gonna find that funny. So it's like, I really think that if somebody starts making fun of you love Palestinian people and they start laughing at them, well, it's very hard to go like, well, that's just not funny. That's just being a douchebag. So that's why I think political views and comedy, they can mix only if you agree with that person's politics.
Yeah. Is it
But
is it
mm,
really that simple? If you agree, it's good. If you disagree, you might be hurting your feelings.
Of course no, right? But I think that it has its
yeah, of course it plays a big role. You cannot deny it. But I feel like his political views and the way he talks about them, it's not, it's not like, for example, Israel and Palestine. Because when you talk about the Israel-Palestine conflict, you have people on both sides who argue about something that is, it's hard for the two sides to communicate because it's messy. You understand? But when he talks about awareness of mental health,
Yes.
it's hard for people who are reasonable to go against that and to be like, mental health. We shouldn't worry about that.
Yeah,
I
mental health is for pussies, right? That's why we have
yeah,
pussy men in the
I'm
country, and
yeah.
some people think like that for reals.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm not, explaining it very well right now
no,
because
you're
I don't
explaining
have
it
the words.
well.
But I feel like it's not the same thing. When he says, he's not like, oh, we should push the transgender agenda. That's not what he's saying. He's saying this is not the community we should attack when we're making jokes, and that it's not the one that we should challenge. This is just what he's saying. So it's not like there are two sides here. I think when your political views are moderate and promoting the ability to live together and to be a more open society to differences and everything, I just well, it's because I align with those things, but I just believe that it's the right thing to do.
Yeah,
I think to
but
be
what I'm
to
telling
allow
you,
people to
right,
be what.
is that
Hmm.
even though you say that there is such a big difference in between the Israelo-Palestinian conflict and such a thing as to should we dunk on the transgenders or not, I think it's actually very, very similar in terms of points of view. Some people, like you said, they want to promote a sense of living together, a sense of respect and all, and some other people feel endangered by this rather niche group that is slowly but surely trying to have their rights recognized and
Hmm.
have maybe accommodations with the bathroom, with sports, with different categories, right?
Hmm.
And some people are like, yeah, that's that's cool, and some people think it's nonsensical and it's actually the downfall of the civilization, right? So I think that it's
Yeah.
pretty close, man. I think it's not so far apart. It's very far apart if you're convinced that you are in the right and that the other position is so niche, like everybody is with you, right? If you're convinced it's an issue that not many people oppose, it might be easy for you to say such a thing. But I
Yeah,
don't
you're
know.
right. You're right. No, you're right. I think it's just because I align myself with him, and I a lot of his feelings and the way he expresses them, and his struggles and everything. I, I feel like I can relate to him because we're not the same age, but we're closely the same generation, and he talks about issues that are not close to me, but are relevant to the
Mm-hmm.
period of time that we're living in. So I don't know. I feel this connection, and of course, you're right. If he were of a different opinion, something close to the opposite of what he thinks right now, I would probably not like it. But at the same time, maybe it's too philosophical to say that, but would he be able to have these others' opinion with that persona, with what he is? I don't think he would. I don't think there's a way for him to go on stage and have this insecure but funny way of present himself. Is vulnerability but honesty that is mixed. Everything that represents and represents him and is the whole persona of him. I don't think he would be able to go on stage and do his stuff with a different opinion than the one he has right now.
Mm-hmm. It might say a lot about him and our society, but actually, you know what? He's British, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know for a fact that Great Britain is very transphobic. Like, very, very transphobic. One of the most transphobic places in the West.
Oh, really?
So,
I didn't know that.
so he's actually not in the majority when he. I mean, he doesn't align with the power. That's what I meant by that.
And you like that?
It's a shame people cannot see me smiling right now, but I am smiling.
Yes, I know you are. I can hear it in the silence that you're smiling. You're smiling.
Oh
But yeah,
boy.
so yeah, I think the way I think the way he is and the way he does his craft is somewhat linked to his opinions and everything. I don't think he could have, conservative views on these types of issues with this kind of delivery. I
Mhm.
don't know. I find that it fits him, but maybe I'm wrong.
What about you, Kyle? What do you think about that angle, the politics and comedy?
Um, I agree with everything you just said there. I don't know. I think like I'm repeating myself a bit from the beginning there, but I really think that politics you, you should be able to joke about them and have fun with them and laugh at people, right? Because they're people, they fuck up and everything. And if you don't laugh at it, you know what you're gonna do. I just think that there's a lot of stuff that when it hits home, when it's very personal to you, or when you have your feelings on it, and somebody's making fun of them, it's hard to see them as comedy and more just like an attack on that idea
Hmm.
or on those feelings, on those opinions, right? So it's very very hard to do it. Like for example, I used to really, really like, cliche, but Joe Rogan, right?
Yeah,
His
yeah.
podcast and everything. I used to really enjoy, and I still enjoy it, but it depends the guests that he have on, right? I always listen to the ones like scientific, history, or stuff like that. I find it's interesting. But you see, he he I don't align with a lot of his political views, right? Especially with COVID and everything. I don't think he's been the best the best spokesperson, and with a platform that big, I think he and what he says on his Discord, who invites and everything, it just there's a cesspool of toxic people that love him and everything, and he's I find turning more into these person that like that shares the opinion with these toxic people, right? And it's making me like him less and less. Every time he speaks, you're like, eh. However, you see, on one edge, he makes me not really like him a lot of times, but he still does content that I do like, which makes me like, let's say, almost forgive the other parts, even if I think it's maybe what he's doing to a lot of young boys and stuff like that. The way he's fucking them up, right, in the mind. I think that it's even more harmful. So I shouldn't be encouraging it. However, like I said, it's comedy. Sometimes it's not logical.
Yeah.
Well said.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah. But it's when I watched those special about Jamie Acaster. Well, it was before. It was before I watched Call Lasagne. It was when I watched the repertoire. After I watched it, well, before I watched it, what I thought about comedy was that, and it's peculiar, is that if it doesn't stings, if it doesn't sting, sorry, I'm not going to like it. I like it when I watch comedy and it's controversial. I like it when it's provoking. This is a big part of comedy that I like. I like, sitting down, listening to a comedian, and being provoked in my thoughts, in my experience. But I also like him provoking the audience. I don't know why, but I enjoy it a lot when I hear in the audience people gasping and being very surprised by the horrifying things that could be said on stage. Because, you know, when I look at my favorite comedians, there's like Dave Chappelle, Bill Burr, Louis C.K. So you see that these comedians, what they like to do is they like to provoke their audiences, and this is something I enjoy about comedy. And I always thought that something cannot be funny if there's not a bit of something mean behind it, and that's why I was all up front for freedom of speech when it comes to stand-up comedy and every other type of writing. But as the years go by, and after watching that show, I changed my mind on some of that stuff because I think that maybe there's a way to be tasteful in comedy without being too mean or without being too aggressive in some part. Because
Yeah.
after watching that opening when he talks about transgender people, it made me think about Ricky Gervais because I enjoy Ricky Gervais a lot. He's one of my other favorite comedians, and there are some parts in Dave Chappelle's specials where he speaks about the transgender community as well. And when I watch those specials again, I still laugh at the jokes because I don't know, they're well written and everything. But when I watched James Acaster, in first time, it made me think about that in another perspective. And today, I'm not so inclined to say that everything should be said on stage. Should everything be allowed to say on stage? Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think we should um forbid.
Except maybe like
If you
I
want to
just
prosecute somebody more
no,
easily,
but
yeah, man, talk,
except to go
man. Let
like,
your
hey, we should kill all these people and put stars on them. I think I'm like, like maybe,
Yeah,
but
well, anyway, there's already some people making sure that this cannot be said, but don't worry, you cannot say that. But yeah, of course, yeah, nothing.
I understand what you mean. I understand.
Yeah, so I agree that everything should be no. I think that we should not forbid anything to be said, but I think that maybe comedians in general should start looking um, at things that should be said on stage, and maybe there are something that shouldn't be said. Not that we cannot say them, but maybe we should, because
Yeah.
not everything is as clean as it seems when you just say it on stage. A lot of people say, "Well, I'm just making jokes up here. It's only jokes. I don't do anything." But whether we like it or not, what we say goes into the minds of the people listening to it, and it's in the back. It's not in the front sometimes. It's just in the back of the head, and it stays there, and you know when you get some other information, it complements it, and then one day you just think something different that what you could be thinking if you had um if you had if you were given more awareness about a subject.
We were talking about that exact topic not so long ago, you and I.
Yeah, yeah,
And you
exactly.
you were telling me that it was very, very strange because
Yeah.
we know our nature and intentions, and
Hmm.
that knowing those, it couldn't be wrong to be laughing and saying some stuff in private um, that might be
Yeah,
mean, right? And I was like,
yeah,
yeah,
because
man, it's understood, right? We know everybody, we know their intentions, we know where they come from and all. But the simple fact of entertaining the thought for me does something to you. It, like you said, it stays in the back of your mind. It's a um, connection. It's a path that a road that your brain creates, connecting those different dots and topics. And whenever it comes up in any time of day, any place, any and you think about it and it flashes in your mind and I'm like, bro, it might have been funny, right? And all, but I don't want to be thinking about the potential joke I could make out of something that is actually pretty serious. It's it's a weird thing. It's a very, very weird thing I was thinking about. Was like maybe we would be better off, like you said, refraining from saying such things. Because the more we say stuff, the more I feel like we think about it. Would you guys agree?
yeah, in a manner, of course, it's it's complicated because the first time we talked about this, I was I was thinking, well, this is one of the things I love the most about our group and when we talk as friends and everything is that I feel that everything can be said. You know,
Mm-hmm.
there are no boundaries because we know that we're you know quote unquote good people and that we don't have mean real intentions against anybody. So we can give ourselves the benefit of the doubt whenever we say something horrible because we know that there's no way that we can go on and think whatever we're saying and it's just a way to to say something shocking or something to provoke a reaction from the others or simply to get a laugh.
Yeah, that's the thing. But why though? And I was
Why?
noticing that it's not so pure in the end. The intentions are not so innocent.
Well, to me, like I think for me, like, I don't know about other members of the so-called group or with our interaction with others, but for me, I don't know. I have this reflex that if there's something funny, I think like in my head, I'm thinking like, okay, this could be funny.
Yes, but it's horrible.
It's horrible. It's horrible to say it, but I'm thinking if I say it right now in this manner, this could be
Exactly.
funny, and it
Exactly.
could make the others laugh.
And it
The,
it
the others laugh,
will. I can sometimes I
and
can
it
put
will. Yeah,
money on, right? I'm like, yo, this
yeah,
shit, it's gonna be a banger, right?
yeah.
Sometimes you feel it.
Yeah, because you're with your friends. They know you. You know them. You know what's going to make them laugh. They know why you said it. So there's a lot going on. It's complicated. It's no, it's not complicated. It's complex. There's a lot going on in those types of interaction. So you say it. You say it because I have this urge. Me personally, I have this urge. I have to. If there's something funny, I will say it. But
Yeah, yeah.
that's
I'm
when you
like,
think of.
bro, it could be better taste, right? Some things
Mhm.
you're like, yo, I know this shit would bang, but I'm a refrain from doing it. Why?
Yeah.
because in the end, it's not gonna do us much good.
Exactly.
Because you're like, yeah, man, in the end, we're gonna have a good laugh, and that's it. But to me, the way I now see this is that actually, no, it's gonna follow us more than just this instant with this laugh.
Yeah, because I've noticed that some jokes that I've made, they were jokes at the moment that I told them, but days, weeks, even sometimes like years later, you speak about a similar subject that the one you used on that joke, and then you speak to someone that was present when you told the joke, like one of your friends, and then they say something about that subject, and you go, "Ooh, that's not good. Ooh, that's not good. You shouldn't say that.
Mm-hmm.
You shouldn't say that." But they're serious this time. It's not a joke because you're having a serious talk about something. So you go back to that and you're thinking, at the time where I told that joke, I thought that everybody was aligned with my opinions and that this joke was so absurd that nobody would think about that. But now, I'm not so sure.
Because I don't
So,
think there is anyone that is so good that they are immune to what we're talking about.
yeah,
I might
I don't know
have
if
the
you.
highest esteem of myself, of you, of Kyle, of but in the end we're human, right? After all.
Yeah, exactly. So we get influence. So, what I've learned with all that with that show and um that new type of comedy is that even though I like comedy a lot and I want comedians to be able to say whatever they want, I think that they should sometime, put the brakes on and think about, things that they shouldn't say. And honestly, I'm thinking about doing the same. And it's uncomfortable. I don't like it. I hate it, honestly.
You hate it because it's not. Uh, it says
I'm
something
not
about
used
the
to it.
present you, right? Not
Yeah.
you're like, yo, if I want to be more like what I aim to be, it means that
Hmm.
some change needs to happen, and
Yeah,
change is
exactly.
uncomfortable.
Exactly. It's all about that. It's just that I don't want to change that. I feel like it's a good thing. I want to continue doing that, but I don't think it's. I think for the future, I think it's a good thing. I don't know if Kyle, you understand what
We're
that type of
talking about
feeling.
it. We're what
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
even talking about. We excluded you,
No,
bro. I'm sorry.
no. I let you guys talk there. No, I agree with you guys there that, well, I agree with Jacky that, you know, before I was in the same opinion, like you can laugh at anybody you want, and I still it's true, right? Ultimately, but I just think there's some people that fuck they've had it hard in life, and just, I don't know, laughing at that, it's just like sometimes it is just it's not funny, it doesn't you're just laughing at down at people. Laughing and should be together, never at somebody. It's I find at somebody is sometimes, till this day I still find it funny, but it shouldn't, it should be more inclusive. That's,
Definitely.
about it.
But I don't know how to say it. We were talking about it in another subject. Uh, it's tribalism. It's our profound, like the way we are, where we always want to make it us versus them. We feel comfortable viewing the world like that, even though we say we don't. We actually do. So in the end, that type of humor where we were saying, yeah, man, if the political thoughts or positions that the person was sharing with us weren't aligned with ours, it wouldn't be funny. Why? Well, I think that's why. That's the reason. So yeah, man, it's can we even like we can try to do something about it. I don't think it's a lost cause, but I think it's very hard. I think it's very, very hard. It's like fighting against uh, our more subconscious side. The
That's
one
why
that
it's so
that's
difficult.
yeah, the one that's people would say more animalistic, right? The one that's more into the simple needs and desires, right? Where we need to breathe, we need to eat, we need to sleep, we need those kinds of stuff. Well, when you go higher than that, just a little higher, comes us versus them.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah. It's a lot to think about for a simple comedy show about bananas and everything.
but he's going there, like
Yeah, he brings it up. Yeah, he brings it up in the second in the 2 hour long special. He brings it up. It's like I said, it's political, but it's not subtle, but it's light. I find I don't know why. It's just that he's not going too hard. I don't know if it's in the rhythm. I don't know if it's in the delivery, but
like you said, he swears a lot. He might um, aesthetically it might be shocking, but when you look at it for what it is, it's kind of light, like you said. Like it's more a matter of showing off or like playing a persona of some sorts than
yeah,
to actually be that guy. He's not that guy.
exactly. But it seems like he is that guy.
Well, he's playing the part pretty well.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's what this is my change of thoughts about freedom of speech and comedy and everything because it was a subject that we wanted to talk about, so that's why I brought the comedy special because I wanted to talk about freedom of speech in general.
It is very
In
important. Like it was
Yeah.
one of our main like first few topics that we wanted to ever talk about on this podcast,
Hmm.
and we're at episode 24 now. We just got around it.
Yeah, because there's a lot of to talk. There's
Yeah,
a lot to talk about.
Kyle, what do you think about the principle of freedom of speech to be able to say whatever and not be put in jail
Okay.
for it, right?
That's a big, big question.
Yeah. But like in its
Um,
principle, right? Because we have a country not too far from ours that really, really likes some of their freedoms, and they don't want to shut up about them. They think they're the best in the world because of them, right? Their rights and their freedoms. But sometimes, I don't know if you guys share the same view I have, but too much freedom, some freedoms you shouldn't give to people. Some freedoms are better kept in check.
I think we should keep this conversation for another podcast because
Probably.
if we go now, it's gonna last at least an hour. So I don't think
Yeah, I think he's right. I think he's right.
It's,
Well, it's
we're closing in on the 2 hour mark. We should definitely refrain from going that deep.
oh my goodness, we're at 2 hours, and that's now we're going to start talking about the freedom of speech and the freedom of rights and everything. But yeah, we should keep it for another time because it's going to be a long conversation. I know, especially with Carl. I know he has some pretty strong opinions about this.
Yeah, man. I think that
we'll
we
see.
will
We'll
have
see.
some differing opinions on that topic, and it will be a fun time to discuss everything.
Yeah,
But until then, it was a pleasure to have you back, assemble the team to do this episode 24 about James Acaster, a discovery. Never heard of him, never saw him before this homework, and I'm very glad I'll be following him, seeing what's up next. I don't know for you, Kyle.
Yeah, for sure. Uh, I'll. I don't know if he has other ones there, but if something appears on Netflix, I'll give it a watch.
I heard that in the show, right, that he got multiple deals. Was it repertoire or something else is coming up?
No, it was for repertoire. Like when he talks about the Netflix special, it's repertoire because I
Okay,
think it came
okay,
out in 2017. So
okay,
that's the one
okay.
he's talking about.
Good, good. Okay, okay. So yeah, that settles it. I might watch some other content that you said that existed on YouTube because he's a funny guy. I want to see him in other types of environments.
I'll
Uh,
send you a link to his stories, like the details on talk shows.
awesome. And yeah, I'll see what's up next for his big work, his next big special. Um, anything else? Anything else? Yeah, episode
We're very
20,
excited. We're very excited for next episode.
25, man.
25th episode. It's quite a lot. I'm impressed.
We managed to hold on this long.
And yeah, there's still a lot coming. So, but for now, let's talk about next week or next podcast, should I say, to be safe.
We are going to be reviewing one of the most important games
Trash?
in these modern times.
You mean trash or very mediocre?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think.
and it's gonna be very interesting because some
Oh
people,
yeah.
right, like our man right here, will say that it's actually not that great. It's pretty good, but others would say that it's actually more than great. It's absolutely amazing, and the different reasons are what it's all about, right? I'm like, how can somebody be so against, or not against, but not so pleased with a game that feels like the second coming of Christ for others? So it's gonna be amazing to discuss.
What's the game?
Oh, the game, bro!
Mhm.
If you didn't know yet, it's made by R&D1. It's the division number one at Nintendo in Japan, and it's been released in 2017 on two platforms: the Nintendo Wii U and the Nintendo Switch. And many thousands of dollars were spent to make it available on PC. People were very, very motivated to make an emulator that will run it because it was the game to play, and every means, by any means necessary. We're talking about the legendary Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild.
Into that. So, guys, if you want to listen to Kyle spitting out nonsense for 2 hours, be sure to subscribe. Be sure to listen to the next podcast because you're going to have it for your share. I can guarantee it. I can guarantee it. 2 hours spitting out nonsense. Kyle is your man.
I hope he'll hold you up on that. I think.
Yeah, well, I think we're just gonna wait and see because I think you guys are gonna be out fucking classed.
Well, I'm gonna prepare for it, so get
Oh, okay,
prepared yourself.
I'll prepare it. I'll prepare for it.
It's gonna be amazing, guys. I think that you should strap up. It's gonna last a little bit more than this podcast, because too much have to be said in a lot of different topics. Just like we almost went on for another 2 hours, right before this one. It's gonna be rough to stop because there is a lot to be said. But until then, I wish you guys good health, success, happiness, and yeah, try to play Zelda, man. It's a game that you want to experience before we talk about the podcast. You don't need to beat it, but I want you to experience it. So if you hear me, give it a try. Anything else to add, guys?
No, nothing else. We'll see each
No,
other
pretty good.
next time.
On Dragon Ball Z. See ya, everybody.
See ya.